Presentation comes from an EMS trendsetter at the forefront of the EMS technology movement. He is the founder and president of Traumasoft, a nationally recognized creator of web-based applications with nearly 3 decades of EMS leadership and experience. His efforts are highly influential in the industry, streamlining EMS and healthcare operations through cutting-edge software. Please welcome Brian Balow.
Wow. I need to leave now after that. Holy man. Welcome. Good afternoon. I'm going to try to do something today. It might be a little different than your normal presentations. I want to talk about some things that are going on with disaster management and how we manage MCIs and things like that, and how technology, I think, can transform that and help us in the field. How many of you guys are field personnel? Just curious. Have all of you been involved in MCIs in the past? That's funny, Robert. Yeah. Obviously, in today's world, you know, we just had Sandy. Was it Sandy Brook or Sandy Hook or whatever that was in New Jersey with the shootings? Sandy Hook?
Oh no, that was in Connecticut.
Connecticut, that's right. Sorry. We had the Columbine stuff. We had the Aurora shooting at the theater, and recently I was sent a video. I don't know if you guys listened to the audio on YouTube from the Aurora shooting? Has anyone heard that? You have, Josh? Okay. What I'd like to do today is I'm going to play this audio tape so you can listen to, from the fire perspective, of how they managed it. And they made this public to kind of help us understand some of the challenges. And I think for all of us that have been in an MCI before, I think we're going to be able to relate. I know that I've been in a few, and you know, when you start doing your first initial assessment of an accident or a shooting or some sort of MCI, we all know it's chaotic, to say the least. The cool thing is there's technology out there that we're going to talk about towards the end that I think can streamline this and make this just a more efficient system. Not only with communication, but patient tracking, GPS, and RFID tagging, and so on. So as we play this video, or this audio tape, it's about 25 minutes or so. Be thinking, and I had to listen to it 3 or 4 times. Be thinking as we're listening to this, the communication piece between responders. How many times they ask, how many patients, how many vehicles do we have, how many ambulances? I'll give you a little snippet before we even get into it. 20 minutes into this incident, they have no idea how many patients they have. They're 20 minutes into it. They've got the whole city of Aurora, police, fire, and EMS on scene, and they have no idea how many victims they have. They have no idea how many ambulances they have. You're going to hear part of it of a 5-year-old, or no, 9-year-old, that gets lost in the shuffle and ends up passing away because they can't find the kid, and they keep moving him around. Keep that in mind, because as we wrap this up, I'm going to show you some technology where that won't happen in the future. We'll be able to track these people. So, with that said, let me start. Speeches, we have a technical glitch. You lost your internet.
Are you sure you gave me the tickets?
This is an advertisement on YouTube.
So, hair spot sure is convenient.
And why should I care that that hair spot?
It's just a little comedy before we start it. So you got patients running out.
Sorry about that. We have multiple victims, probably at least 4 now. One is going to be in front of Dillard's, one in front of the theaters, one at Expo and Staple, and they have gas being sprayed inside the theaters. You're going to need gas masks.
Copy.
Same distribution on your west or ambulance parking lot, and they're saying 3 to 4 ambulances, which will get started with Rural Metro. We have Tower 8 en route with engine 8. Do you want any more units?
Okay, let's set up ambulance staging at Expo and Sable. Is that where they want to stage in the first place?
Was the original staging location, now they're saying the west parking lot. So we try to clarify with PD that somewhere where we won't be necessarily coming into their scene. There's lots of officers there.
That's a theater. This is where they originally had the staging. Then they moved it to the west parking lot. Dillard's is right here.
And engineering, they're saying that they want the staging area in the west parking lot of the theater. We are on scene with APD on the
Dispatch from engineering.
engineering. Go ahead, sir. I have information there may be at least 5 patients.
Dispatch from engineering. We're on the scene. We do have good reports of multiple victims and an active shooter.
There's only 3 ambulances on the way after all this communication so far.
Century
3
Command.
units.
And
2 engine companies, 3 ambulances.
Engineering copy per PD. They're saying they're taking the victims to the north end of the theater, and engineering is in command.
And they know they have 5 victims and 3 ambulances.
Looks like 2 more ambulances routine.
Okay, now they're sending 2 more.
And engineering, please advise if you need other engines with you. I just have Tower 8 around so far.
okay, go ahead and start 2 more engines. Emergent. We'll do the staging location is going to be on Sable. We'll do the correction. We'll do the west parking lot of the mall and the east parking lot of the mall. That faces the Dillard.
Okay, and engineering, they're saying that they have a party on the east side of the theater that they can't get to. They need an ambulance each shot in the back, and multiple parties inside the theater. And engineering, I copy. I can start. It looks like you have 4 ambulances started. PD's requesting as many ambulances as possible to Dillard's. How many ambulances do you want? And I'll start 2 more engines.
Five on scene, west parking lot.
Good, it's on power for you. Engineering, any unit on scene at Century Theaters. PD is requesting you to Dillard's. Again, to Dillard's at the mall. They're taking all victims to Dillard's.
Tower 8, Battalion 1. Battalion 1, Tower 8 on scene with the APD. We're down at the Expo and Stable. We got a victim in the car. We're going to go and take that right now. Yeah, I got one down here at Center Point and Stable. Any way you can split your crew and send some people up here to Center Point and Stable.
There's another station here.
Copy, let's really get over Vegas. We got this one out, and then I'll have this way up north of you.
They're saying, I believe it's Dillard's parking lot. Engineering is in command.
table green, now they're leaving. They've got at least 7 reds that they know of.
Century Command Fire Dispatch. Century Command Fire Dispatch. Sir, one metro setting all ambulances available in Aurora to where you guys are. We started 2 additional engines. Do you need any additional fire apparatus?
That's affirmative. Give me 2 more additional engines at this point. And then I want them on the northwest corner of Century 16 at this point.
Right, Central Command 102. Yes, sir, we're over just to the north of Dillard. Is there a way to...
Century Command Medic 105. 105.
Fire dispatch from Calgary, we're down at Stable and Expo. We need an ambulance for USW to abdomen, arms, and legs. Do you have anyone to spare? Command from D-Point 4. We have on the northeast corner, we have Silver Ridge, we have PD bringing additional victims out the back here. I need another ambulance unit at least, and 2 ambulances over here right away.
Are you on the northeast corner of the building that exit?
Copy, northeast corner, they just put another red over to me. Right now I have 5 reds, and they're bringing additional people to this corner.
Century Command Medic 105. Command, go ahead.
This is the 9-year-old.
Command, copy. Break. GSD units inbound to Century Theaters from command. Man, this is engine forward, Edmonton, Vietnam, please. Engine 4, you're going to be Dillard's Division unit, and you're going to be Dillard's Division. You respond to Dillard's, please.
Central Command 102, we have a patient that we've just been stopped by at Center Point Stable right here. That's laying on the back of a pickup truck. Do you want us to take that or go over to your staged area?
Okay, ambulance calling command, who was that?
Medic 102, we have a kid that's shot in the neck, flash face at Stable and Center Point Drive, and we're right here trying to get there. Do you want us to stay here and take this patient?
Ambulance, who is this again?
102?
He never responds back. That patient just gets lost.
Century Command Fire Dispatch, PD is saying they cannot evacuate the patients. It's in Theater 9. They need medical personnel.
Copy.
Pay attention, this guy gets overwhelmed and he just forgets the questions that's being asked.
We've got a patient down here. Do you want us to take that one?
That's affirmative, go ahead. Dispatch, Battalion 1 will assume command. Let me have an exact count of who is coming in. I need to know everybody who's coming in, fire apparatus. I need all the ambulances that are not on scene to stage an exposition and
That's the boy.
Copy. We're going to set up fire departments that are not on scene to stage expo and stable.
These fire apparatus and medical apparatus that are not on scene at Century Theaters, I need you to expo and stable.
15 minutes into it, still.
Sorry, copy, and PD is requesting there are 10 people down outside of behind the theater. Theater night.
Dispatch, command copy. Engine 4. This is Century Command. Break. Then 102 stage, exposition and stable.
Theater 9's the boy. About 12 minutes, they've been asking for something. That's dispatch asking.
I'm just trying to sort out right now.
He has no clue.
Here, 4 here. I'm going to go with 20 for right now. Let's just go with 20 people so we get this verified. Okay. I have medical 102 more here. Can I have them to transport my 2 red patients? Copy. Make sure you set up an extrication, triage, treatment.
No answer.
If you can, transport officer, all divisions. Set up an extrication, triage, treatment, transport with the
Then hit 1. We're 20 minutes into it.
Dispatch, Century Command. We have any other chief responding?
Help.
County Chief Simmons here, please. By truck 2, I want you to join up with Engine 5. I'm just going to make you single division. All units on the scene, we're going to have 3 divisions. Century, which will be here with Engine 8. Single division, which will be truck 2. And Engine 5. And right now we have Tower A and Engine 4 working Dillage division. Please form an extrication/triage treatment transport area within your division. We're going to start there until we get more resources. Dispatch, just to avoid confusion, just call me Aurora Mall Command from this point on out.
Copy, sir. The lieutenant with the police department is requesting to meet you face-to-face in front of the theater, and we're starting Chief 7.
Copy. Can we have from the Dealers Division, we're sending 2 red patients off on the medic 102 destination on the medic call and see what's open. And waiting to hear from the EM system what beds are available. Command, truck 2. FYI, right now we're loading patients in the back of AV cars getting them transported. Any ambulance we can get with you guys.
But there's ambulances there. They're just not coordinating. So they're just throwing in squads.
Truck 2, medic 106, where do you guys need it for a patient? Dispatch, how many ambulances, this is Command, Roll Command. How many ambulances do I have? And I need to have them all go to staging because we have people jumping in and out. I'm not sure anybody even is.
Have you heard of you, sir? I don't know an exact count of the ambulances.
She has
They
no
just
idea.
advised me that they're sending 2 more prime mark emergent, and we have every unit that's available in the city of Aurora.
Okay, I need you to go into stable. Can you send a supervisor? I want one of their supervisors to be in charge of that transport area over there at Expo and Stable so we get a handle on ambulances, have them staged, and then I can start sending them into each division. Dealers Division. Dealers Division. Go ahead, this is Normal Command. I've got medical 103 over here. All he has is a green patient. If you have 2 red patients, they can take them. Yes.
We're going to be around 3 patients, 3 fires.
Dispatch, Aurora Command.
Go ahead, sir. I'm going to make you advise I do have a supervisor around.
Make sure that all of these ambulances know to return to the staging area over there at Exposition and Sable. Drop off their patients, but we got to get a count because we can't overload South and University. I need to know if we're going down to Swedish, if we're going down to any of these other area hospitals that are level 1. All greens at this time do not transport, only reds, and that's per command.
We're transporting the University.
Dillage Division. Do you have assignment for 103 to 2
about 9 more minutes of this that goes on. Confusion about where the staging area is at, how many patients they have, the additional ambulances that come in, they don't know where to go. And if you look at the map, if you ever go back and look at the map, there's all these different inroads that come into the mall area. And the responding units essentially were just coming from wherever and going wherever. And as they were confronted with patients, they would grab greens or whatever and just transport them. And there was no organized, as you can tell, there was no organized event or structure. And not to, this is not intended to look poorly on Aurora. I've been in these things, and this is how these things go. This is just reality. I've never been a part of an MCI that went smoothly.
What's their EMS delivery model? Is it fire-based, hospital-based, contracted?
I don't know.
Fire-based.
Is it fire-based?
Fire-based.
And then they have privates in Denver that came over, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And again, it's not to make them look bad. I mean, we've all been a part of this. There are inherent problems in an MCI, and the biggest one is assessing the situation. And if you think about when I listened to this, just because of the software background that I have, I listen to this thing and I'm thinking, this is just tragic. This should not happen. We are so far beyond this now with technology. Why is this happening? This can't happen. And I hadn't thought about it until I listened to this. I haven't been in the field for 10 years, so I kind of forgot about what that's like. But the goal is we have to rapidly assess these patients. We need to find out how many we've got. We need to communicate this information back to the comm center. So we need to improve communications. We need to be able to identify how many patients, how many victims, our resources. We need fire, police, EMS. We need to coordinate all that information with our hospitals. And then everybody needs to see this information, right? Well, the only way to do it in the past has been through radio traffic. And we all know radio traffic is just everybody's talking over everybody. They're on the wrong frequencies. You have to repeat it. How many times in there did we hear them say, where am I supposed to go again? Or they would ask a question from the comm guy, and he's trying to answer them, but at the same time, he's trying to get the structure in place. So he just ignores them, which is what probably we would all do. We're trying to look at the 30,000-foot view. We're trying to set up the staging areas. We don't have time to listen to how many reds you've got in one area. I'm trying to put the infrastructure in place, right? But for the guys that are in the theater, and there's a police version to this if you want to watch or listen to it, that you can hear the police traffic. It's not as detailed and relevant to us as EMS, but you can hear their panic. They're the ones, and they're essentially doing the triaging for a variety of reasons. One, to identify that it's safe, but they're the ones that are exposed to this stuff. Imagine if, and I know that the traditional model is for the first medic to get on scene to a triage and identify all this stuff. But when you've got a situation like this, medics can't go into this environment, right? So the police officers are there. They're the ones that are giving us the information, right? And identifying how many patients. But that information is not getting back to the command. He has no idea, right? And then the poor dispatcher that's trying to coordinate all this stuff, she has no idea what's going on, right? So what's the solution? GPS, RFID tagging, and digital communications. You guys are all familiar with GPS, right? You can track your dog, right? You can pay to have your dog tracked, and you can find your dog wherever they're at. Most of us already have GPS in our vehicles, so we know where our vehicles are at, right? RFID tagging, let me back up. GPS is probably going to be the solution for what I'm going to explain to you. We've talked with a couple of companies that already have this stuff in play.
Brian, I think there's a power strip in front of the building.
Oh yeah, you're right. Jeez, Josh, thanks. See, good communication. It works. So GPS, I think for us, but again, I want to kind of chat with you guys too and vet this out, because we're down the road with the software piece and we've got some infrastructure in place. But there's some challenges with GPS and cost, and then there's some things with RFID that's very inexpensive. And there's some tools to kind of make that all work. But obviously GPS, there's devices that we can slap on patients instantly and be able to track and know exactly where they're at. So just envision, go to the next slide, Debbie. Envision that either police or fire have the ability to have either RFI or GPS. Now, again, RFI, the hospitals, you know, the bracelets they put on you, those things are RFID compatible already. There's already hospitals that have them. And you can program these things. So imagine if you had a bracelet or this little tag that had 4 little buttons on it: red, black, yellow, and green. So the first guy in, it's a red, slaps the wrist on, pushes red, and leaves. Moves on to the next patient, which is what they should be doing. Or the police. You can do that with GPS or RFI. But imagine if you could do that when you first walked into that theater. And as the police officers, now it's not just one guy doing it. It's a variety of policemen that are doing it, if they've got this on them, okay? So as they're going through and clearing these scenes, they're slapping this bracelet on, or whatever the device is. This stuff can pop up on a map, just like our vehicles do, right? If it pops up on a map, we can distribute it to everyone, right? So as we're identifying patients, dispatch, first responders, command centers, comm centers, the EM system, everybody will know exactly what's going on before anybody ever has to pick up a mic. The cool thing about the one company, it's in San Jose actually, their RFID bracelet, you can change it. So you initially do a red, and then they're doing it for a whole different industry. They don't have no idea what we want to use it for. But you can push a button. It's all programmable. So if you push it red and then you want to downgrade them to a yellow, you can do that. The police officer says, "Oh, this is red," you know, and the medics get in. They go, "No, I'm going to downgrade. This is yellow." That stuff will automatically pop up. Okay. So what we envision is for the comm center. You guys have seen the big touchscreen displays. Imagine if your comm center had the touchscreen displays, you had a grid or a map that could pop up like this, and just like now, we can draw geo-fences and all that kind of stuff on our GPS solutions, or most of them. You identify your staging areas. As the police or the medics are tagging these patients and they're populating on the screen, we see this stuff. So the dispatchers are seeing it. There's no more, how many patients do you have? They're popping up right here. You can see them, right? We already know with GPS what trucks are coming into the area, right? We know it. You can set up the triage areas, identify where these things need to be as far as staging or triage or transport. Let me go ahead and look at the next one. You can have, you guys seen the hospital whiteboards before, the dynamic ones? But essentially, they use them in the ERs to identify beds and, you know, the status of the bed management and all that kind of stuff. As the patients are being tagged and identified, imagine, university just happens to be one of the hospitals in there, but each hospital could see this, or they could share it among other hospitals on their grid. They could see the capacity of the ambulance. They could identify, in this scenario, they could say, listen, I can take 10 green, you know, they plug these numbers in from their interface, 10 yellow and 10 red. And then as the dispatch or the transportation supervisors assigning these patients, you can see these things taking up the space. You can organize it, right? And because of Google and the ability to track the mileage and all that stuff, you can automatically update the status because they're moving on the map. They've been assigned to a facility, and it could give them the ETA. So you could essentially eliminate communication with the hospital. They could just watch their little board and see what's going on. This is not radical stuff. This stuff's already out there. This stuff is available. We just got to put the pieces together. Same thing with the trucks. As they were coming into the scene, how many times did they ask where to go? What's going on? Is this the actual theater, Debbie? Or is this just a map?
Yeah, it's at the end.
Oh, okay, yeah. Here's Exposition and Sable. But as they're bringing trucks in from all these different areas, you can clearly give them the route to say, I need you to go to this route. You push it to the trucks, and they know exactly where to go. Everybody's on the same page. You can send them this information. Same thing here. You can tell them who's command and identify that. With the other thing that we learned too, with one of our developers is ex-military, And the military has been using packets sent through cell phone technology, so you can even eliminate GPS altogether going to the satellites and just send these packets. They're more stable and reliable. Sean could actually tell you more about this stuff. But what's cool about that is that you can also send this stuff to digital radio communication. So for instance, if you had a geofence set up, and as they enter that geofence, it could flip their radio to whatever channel is predetermined by the comm center. So it would force them to go right to that channel. Obviously, we're down the road. We'd have to, there's some work to do to pull that stuff off. But imagine that scenario. You're identifying your patients. You're communicating it to the stakeholders. Comm centers can see it. The other part of this is you can track your resources as far as your emergency responders. Right? So the application is not only knowing where the patients are at, being able to match the patients with the first responders that are on foot. You create, can you go back one? Maybe one more. There you go. Imagine that as you're tracking the patients, you could flip between a filter system. You could also see the fire, EMS, and those people moving throughout the building as well. That theater 9, let's say, is, wherever that red was, red number 11 or something. You can help them navigate to that patient. Now you might think, oh gosh, this is Star Trek stuff. But think about the tethers. We were joking about it the other day at lunch with, what is it when they're tethered? House arrest. They know when those people leave, 10 feet outside their house and they're on the phone, hey, where are you at? What are you doing? If we can do that for that, why can't we do it here? It's there. The technology is already available. Okay. Go back a couple. Is it the end? Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is, or address with you guys, is that as you see this, and we can use this for fire, house fires. We were talking with Robert the other day. There's really, and I'm curious for some feedback from you folks as well, as far as if there's systems you're using that are out there, if you've seen things, or if the challenges that we're talking about are similar to where you guys are from as well. The research that we've done, we've not seen anything out there that's tackling this issue. Even like we were talking about with fire. You send firemen into a building or a structure, keeping track of these guys so somebody doesn't get lost or left behind. Jason is working with a company, what is the name of that company that does the blood pressure monitoring and all that stuff? Sotera. Imagine a year from now, 2 years from now, we're able to incorporate those devices on patients or our fire department to be able to monitor. I mean, essentially that's what rehabbing is anyways, with the firemen, is checking their blood pressures and their pulse and all that stuff, and being able to track that on a screen as well to say, listen, we got to get these guys out, they've been in too long, or something's going on with so-and-so. The technology's there to do those things. So, again, I'm curious, is there anything that I've said or that we've talked about that seems off base? I mean, you guys seeing the same types of challenges back home?
If you're inside a building attacking patients, they can't get satellite signal. How do we work around that?
There's two things. One, there's a company, again, in San Jose that's, they've combined GPS with cell phone towers and triangulation, so that if you can hit a cell tower, you can send the GPS to the satellite and send that stuff back. Because we've talked about that. The other option may be, especially in urban environments where there's lots of concrete and sky rises and things like that, it might be the RFID system. Because the RFID system, we can put a reader or a device, we could attach that with an engine company per se, and as long as that thing is within a certain amount, it's got better reach throughout the building, so they may have a device on them as they're moving up and down floors inside, say, a high-rise or something. So that RFID reader can penetrate that and connect to that. So that's why we still got to kind of vet out, is this going to be GPS the solution? Is it RFID? RFID is the cheapest way. You can get those things for pennies when you buy them in bulk. The GPS solutions are, those are expensive, and you're talking about millions of these things. I mean, every police, fire, EMS agency is going to have a box of these things on the rig and be able to distribute this stuff. So the RFI seems to be probably the logical choice, but it's going to require another, almost call it a modem, if you will, to be able to capture that information and then send it out to the cell tower. We just started the device part of this within the last couple of months as far as exploring the different options. But again, there's that company in San Jose has got a combo where it's an RFI or GPS. It's just expensive. But I think if we get to the point where this is a viable solution and you're buying millions of them, you should be able to bring the price down. Not to mention there's a lot of Homeland Security money out there to, I mean, I can't think of a better thing to invest our money in than this, to be able to track our patients and our firemen and EMS personnel and to help with communication. I mean, how many millions of dollars have been pumped into the 800 system after 9/11 and the communication stuff? If we would have had this in place and they could distribute this information, you know, immediately, it would have been a whole different scenario.
On a single-story structure with no basement and stuff, it worked real well. But if you're talking multi-story buildings or whatever, there'd have to be a layering to it effect. Otherwise, you'd say, yeah, they're in the northwest question, but I've got a 100-story building.
Yeah. Well, Google has some technology. You have to buy it. But again, this is a big deal. This would be federal type stuff. But Google's got all that stuff, 3D renderings of buildings, and you know, you can drop things down and see where things are at. And Google already has an elevation piece in their software already, so you can see where they would be at in theory in a building. So it's just a matter of, you know, this is, you know, maybe a year or two down the road, and we've got some of this advanced sophistication, but it's already out there. We just need to apply it to this environment. You made me think of something else, Robert, I forgot. Sorry. No, that's okay.
The nice thing of this is that not only is your dispatch center seeing it, but your commander, and this guy never went to the command post apparently, because they call him come face to face.
Yeah.
But you can have that display right there.
Yep.
Everybody's on the same thing, police, fire, EMS, yeah.
And again, we're talking about the future. There's lots of pieces that have to be pulled together and plugged in and so on. But even the drag and drop technology, I can see in the future, you know, the big old, the 70-inch monitors that are drag and drop. And, you know, I can see a command center with a couple of these, and they can just, you know, assign resources and automatically send information out to the different departments. And in a perfect world, almost eliminate radio communications. Because things are just getting lost. And I'm sure that this scenario was repeated in Columbine. I'm sure it was repeated, you know, in Connecticut. I know it's repeated, you know, in our back in Kalamazoo, with, you know, on the highway, you know, the accidents, you get 78 car pileups, and even just smaller events where there's just, you know, 10 or 15 patients that are in an MCI. Organizing that's overwhelming at times. You throw one of these things in an urban environment, it's a big deal. That boy ended up dying in that.
And if you go back to even disasters, talking about a subway in Tokyo where they had the sarin gas stuff, you know, a lot of people are going to show up in a private car that aren't even part of that scenario that we can't even account for.
I mean, that's scene control as soon as you get the gas such a perimeter up. And that's, yeah, with 172 patients from chemical exposure. And the first thing, I got on scene and told the fire department to clear an FCI, because at that point we only had 4 patients, and I knew something was up. The fire department said, "You're nuts," you know, so they wouldn't even participate. So they started seeing more patients coming. So I had them do a perimeter check. We only missed 5 people that went to the hospital on their own because it was their private car before we got a perimeter set up. We triaged 72 patients, we transported 52. And fortunately, the hospital was 2 blocks away, so we just did a big service with 4 ambulances, you know, so it worked out good for us. But you got to step in.
There's always going to be something escaping.
There's always going to be some escaping. You know, this explosion, whatever it is, let you get out before you get a chance to get enough resources there to take it. So.
Well, think about our tabletop exercises that we do too. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but you can do those tabletops, but it's hard to truly do and simulate a disaster like that. It's truly hard. Where this, I think this is practical. You can actually, you know, we even thought about, it was too late, but we thought about, as you guys came into the Red Line Conference, tagging you as you walked in, and then putting a monitor up and saying, hey, there's so-and-so walking around, you know, and there's so-and-so walking around.
Like a Marauders map in Harry Potter, you know?
Yeah. In fact, maybe we'll do that next year, but, you know, that would That would solve so many problems by just being able to identify where the victims are at, where your resources are at, and then communicate that information to the appropriate people. And just imagine how many lives. And I think, as we all know, I don't think, unfortunately, the shootings are going away. Unless they turn our schools into prisons where there's, barbed wire fence and security gates. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. So we're going to be faced with this not only in New York, but in these other towns. This stuff's going to pop up.